Hello everyone, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning.
Good morning, Didi and
Morning.
everyone.
I'm fine.
So thank you for being here today. As you guys know, today we're going to discuss about a topic that is very relatable to us students. So today we're going to talk about um, curfew should not be imposed on university student. So there have been a lot of debate out there talking about this issue. And this has been such a hot issue among students as well. And not only that, this issue are always been talked about by our parents on whether or not university should impose curfew on students. So let us discuss on this matter today. So Rel, what is your opinion on this issue?
So, regarding the curfew that should not be imposed to us students, um, I disagree with that topic because curfew should be imposed to students because of in this current time, as we all know, that we have been hit, we have been struck by a devastating pandemic, COVID-19, right? And even the ministers in the education have um, strict uh, strengthened this, what do you say, mm, these rules where curfew should be placed among us because when we are all together in the hostels, we are we will be regularly interacting with each other, where this might be the cause of serious infection. The spread of this virus becomes even more easier. Mm. That is the main point why I disagree with the topic,
Oh,
the statement.
you're stating that you disagree that curfew should not be imposed to this university student, right?
Yes.
I'm also agree with Zara's statement. Because curfews will teach us as a students to become a disciplined person, just like our university do that to us, that we can go to outing, um, but before 12 p.m. right? Maybe before 12 a.m. Uh, so it teach us responsible and time management skills, we have to we have to follow the rules, or the rules that been that been imposed on university students. So yeah, that that all my opinion.
Okay, I agree to your opinion to some extent, but in my opinion, curfew on university students are ineffective in some ways because, in my
Yes.
opinion, it doesn't reduce the crime among university students. University students are still there are still cases where university students are taking drugs, taking alcohol in their dorms, and also having a social party in their dorms in the middle of the night. So I don't think that curfew are really effective in preventing this kind of um, disciplinary issues among students. So that's why I think curfew should not be imposed. And this kind of social activity are supposed to be done away from the university. So that's why I think if curfew is not imposed, then this problematic student have more time to have fun outside of their college. So that is my perspective on this issue. What do you think about this, Violet?
Thank you, Didi. I agree with your statement um, that curfew should not be imposed on university students. It is because my main point is some curfew may become stressful for some students because for me, I love an indoor learning. I love going out where I can explore different kind of activities and where I can interact with other people. When I interact with other people, I can share my knowledge with them. That's why I agree that curfew should not be imposed on university students. Are you agree with me, Anderson?
Yes, Violet, I absolutely agree with your statement just now. As for this statement of the curfew should not be imposed to students, I really agree with this statement. I mean, from my point of view, when we have curfew, students will have limited time to complete their coursework or assignments, something like that. And then imagine that daily that we have classes from morning 8 to 5, and then after that we need some rest, and then we ended up like doing our assignments, our courseworks. I mean, like sometimes group work where we need discussions, and we have only night time to accomplish this assignment. So when we have curfews such that the dorm should be quiet above 10 p.m. and above, we cannot do this activity easily. So that's why the curfew should be abolished. You agree with that, Didi?
Yes, I completely agree with what Anderson mentioned just now. I do think that curfew limits students from doing activities until late at night because not every activity requires us to be indoors all the time. Some of these activities are are making us do things in groups. So we need to do physical meeting, face-to-face interaction between us and our group member outside of our dorm or even um, in the faculty compound. So if curfew is being imposed, then we gonna have a limited time to do this kind of interaction between students.
Um, but Anderson, you mentioned about the about your about assignment and our coursework, but actually we must have a time management skills also to i- in our life because if we don't have a time management skills we have we will procrastinate our work and don't do our job properly and just don't bother about it. um yeah, Zero, what is your opinion regarding this?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with Vika. So um, time management is the key when we are in curfew. If you can manage your time, if you are disciplined, you can get everything right. So um, despite of we being um, being very far apart from each other and from our lecturer. We have so little guidance for us to go through our coursework. But if we find the strength in our heart to really um, take, how do you say, um, take some of the matters seriously and study, keep on studying and doing the coursework, you might uh, even succeed, even though the curfew has been imposed. So it's depending on we as a student to, because we are lack, I know we are lack of motivation because of this type of curfew, but uh, stay strong and we can manage ourselves. So what do you guys think of my opinion?
I think Cyril have a point there. And if university students really work hard on their academic and focus solely on their academic, they can succeed no matter what rules are imposed on them. Pika, do you have anything to add?
I also want to add, when we have curfews, um we also, for me as a girl, girl, we can prevent crime from happen to us. Yeah, we can prevent that from happen, from the bad happen. And also, the parents also did not to worry about their safety for for the children, because they are uh, they are um, like they
You mean
are
they don't have to worry about their
yeah,
children's safety?
yes, yes, because they are confused on them.
I have to admit that I can now finally see the the other perspective of this issue. I think now um, I agree that curfew should be imposed on university students, as there are more uh, positive impact of this being implemented to students than the negative impact. So I would like to hear from Violet whether she changed her mind or she still have the same stance.
I still have the same stand that I agree that curfew should not be imposed. Just like what Pika mentioned, that parents don't worry about their kids' safety, but until when they need to worry about them, they need like to able their children to be exposed to the world. Every day we are being exposed to a dangerous world. It could be a cyberbully or anything. So that's why I think that the more we explore, the more we learn. So that's why I agree that curfew should not be imposed on university students. And um, other points is that it is because we can also save electricity and money for some university. It is because if the students are doing their activity outside, it will reduce the usage of Wi-Fi, electricity, and water. That's why I agree that curfew should not be imposed. Thank you.
Thank you, Violet, for your opinion. What about you, Anderson?
Okay, I would like, pardon me, I would like to agree with Violet's statement just now about the crime that will be reduced. I mean, as we know that crimes can happen anywhere, And students, even though if there is no curfew, students should be more independent and can think more rationally to their acts. It doesn't mean that if curfew is established, that the students would be totally will be under control. But some of the crimes that have been done today, it is not only based on outside activity where the curfew is there. Even the curfew is established, the students can also, I mean, it's not they can, I mean, some of them might have done a crime such as cyberbullying, and then anything including the media, social, and etc. So that is why I emphasize that the students should be more independent and should think more rationally to what they act, even with or without a curfew.
Okay, thank you, Anderson. So what I understand from Violet and Anderson point of view is that um, students should be given the chance to grow and mature and do mistakes, because these are the things that make them human and the things that would prepare them for their adulthood. Am I right?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely, Didi. What about others?
What
but
about others?
but sorry for um but we can also independent if we have curfews, but we must have time management skills if we want to if we want to become an independent person. um and it also give uh, us a responsible person to do our assignment, to do our coursework properly. Yeah, that's why I stand with I disagree with this statement that curfew should not be imposed on university students. Yeah.
Okay, it seems like Fika is still um, firm with her opinion on this matter. And Zrel, are you also in the same stand as Fika?
My stand is still strong.
Okay, um, we have come to a conclusion that some of us agree and some of us disagree with this matter, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And both of the team actually have their own opinion, and some of these opinion are valid and very, how to say, very good points that can
Mm.
be considered as well. So why don't we just leave it to the professional? Maybe they have more um, experience on this method. That's why they are still implementing this issue.
Yes.
I mean, implementing this curfew on university student. But we also hope that um, in the future, maybe certain university will consider not imposing this curfew on university student. So with that, thank you very much for your time today.
My pleasure, Didi.
Yeah, thank you, Didi.
Thank you, Didi.
Thank you. Bye.